we still don't know what will happen in the coming election. But I want to understand, is it that because your understanding and the understanding of others, that possibly a place like Lagos or let's say Ondo State is Yorùbáland, then no other person has right to contest for anything there? Because in my own understanding, Lagos have outgrown that. Lagos have outgrown that in the sense that it's now
May I ask you a question? May I ask you a question?
cosmopolitan.
So hold on, please. Please stop. Okay, so let me say it this way. The Igbo people are Igbo people, but they didn't have a common identity until the British got to Nigeria. I'm not making anything up. I'm not insulting anybody. I'm not. Is the fact. And I'll quote an Igbo writer. His name is Professor Nolly. He wrote a book called Ethnic Politics in Nigeria. Please read that book before you get angry. There's no common identity, there's no pre-colonial common identity. The identity is there was no group identity or group, or you know what? There's no common identity before the British. I'm not saying before the Portuguese, before the British. The concept of nationhood or statehood is strange. It was non-existent in Igbo history. The idea of state, you know what? Let me read some things to you. Say it's independence of clan sovereignty. It doesn't mean they are not Igbo. You're not listening. Okay, you know what? Let me read two things. It's 7:20. I'll see what I can do in a short time. I want to read from two sources, and I'll make sure I'm very fast. And by the way, what I'm about to say right now, I'm not insulting anybody. I'm just trying to explain the reason some people cannot move beyond a particular mindset. It's a cultural problem. It's an evolutionary problem. That's the true issue. It's an evolutionary, like the evolution of their culture is, you are the one who is wrong to expect what you're expecting from them. It's not their fault. There's a way you treat people. See, study how the WASPs, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, who created America, study how they opened up America over time. They did not start America and open everybody and say everybody come, and everybody just goes. This opening that we see in America is in the 1960s, around 65. Before then, it was a lot more difficult. I mean, people were coming from everywhere, but it was more difficult for people to go in as much as everybody's going right now. To go in then, in the beginning, it was the Anglo-Saxons. Then later on, it became Europeans, and then they opened it up over time. Of course, they had other people coming in, but it wasn't as open as it is now. What I'm trying to say is that they did it gradually. We are open, like we are assuming that all of us are at the same level. They know that everybody is different based on culture. In one way, cultures are not better than the other. In some ways, cultures are better because there are certain things that you are doing right now that people stopped doing 1,000 years ago. It means you are too slow. It doesn't mean I'm better than you. I'm just saying that you cannot catch up. So I will be wrong to expect of you what I expect of myself. And what I tell Nigerians is, we are wrong for expecting of folks from the southeast what you expect from Yoruba people. We are the ones who are wrong. Mombo. So it doesn't look like I'm just saying this. I'm going to read from two books. I want to open the second book before I even read. I've opened the first book already while talking. I'll open the second one and then I'll explain something. Now we mess up. Let me read this first one. This is Professor Kudiba Nolly in Ethnic Politics in Nigeria. That's the name of the book. It says, among certain neighboring peoples, there was a definite distinction between Olu and Igbo. While in what is today known as Igboland, there was no history of common pre-colonial consciousness and identity. There was no history. In Igboland, there was no history of common pre-colonial consciousness and identity. Certainly, there were no wars fought together by the Igbo as a collectivity. Such wars usually marked the boundaries of mutual identification and group identity. Only a common consciousness based on a myth of common descent existed among some pre-colonial linguistic groups. For example, the Yorùbá trace their descent from Oduduwa, and the Edo, younger son of Ogiso, the Hausa Fulani have the myth of Bayajida. The Igbos did not have anyone. See that myth that some Yoruba people say it doesn't really matter, we are bigger than that, we want to have our own history. That thing that you don't seem to count. For instance, when I see people talking about there's no need for such a way in Henry Kingdom. Henry is just one. There's nothing that you guys are not coalesce. There's nothing that brings you guys to get. When your Bible say things like, "Oh, Oduduwa, King Kong," what our fathers did 1,000 years ago, wallah, it's a blessing, because not only was it that the identity predated Oduduwa, but him being the hero way back then is a blessing. You will not find anybody like that in Igboland. Does that mean that there's something wrong with them? No, it just means that they are different. Therefore, if you come from a place where you have complex political structures, you have crazy statecraft, amazing delegation of duties, even in politics and in economy, you cannot, in good faith, expect that the Igbos will have that same thing in terms of... That's why they cannot play politics the way you play politics. It's not possible. In order to have that kind of political acumen that you're talking about, the people have to evolve in their political evolution and their cultural evolution. Until they get there, we are all just joking. Guys, you go to Power Tab. Be like, say TikTok is acting up. TikTok is acting up. Please Power Tab. I want to read something from another source. All right, so this is from Anthony Nauro. Of the three most populous ethnic groups of Nigeria, therefore, Hausa, Fulanis, Igbos, Yorubas, only the Igbos never had an organized state. When is he saying this? 1968. Only the Igbos never had an organized state, an imperial past, or a golden age. They had not centralized political administration or loyalties, and never had an era of kings, dukes, or conquerors. Why do you think most of the movie you watch from the Southeast has this thing with the king? It's a fascination for a past they never had. People have nostalgia for a past that never existed. It's like trying to make up for what you didn't have in the past. So you're always talking about king and about this, but in your culture, you literally have a saying that says you have no kings. One more thing. So remember what it says here. It says they had no centralized political administration, no loyalties, no era of kings, dukes, or conquerors, nothing like that. Two more things. This one's about what happened with Biafra. I'm going somewhere, please stay with me. Captured documents, this is Anthony Nauro saying, captured documents from Biafra confirmed that the intention of the former Eastern authorities was to conquer the former Midwestern and Western regions, and then in a later phase, subdue the former Northern region. This was not surprising. Listen, Igbos need to work and trade over the whole of Nigeria, which they have always known in this century as their country. It's a very important thing. They have always known Nigeria in this century. How can you be talking about century 1968? Listen, the idea of Yoruba country did not begin with Nigeria. I have a picture from 1946 of a teacher teaching kids in school. And on that, you know what? 1 second. This was in the 1940s. Yoruba country. You said no? Okay. The blackboard, but look at what the lady is pointing at. Can you see the text? Blackboard, Yoruba country. Okay. Now, the idea, I'm going somewhere. I'm going back to that stuff. The Igbos need to work and trade over Nigeria, over the whole of Nigeria, which they have always known in this century as their country. One more thing. I hope I can quickly find that page. On the eve of independence, some Igbo leaders, as I have said, unable to look back to any golden age or era, looked forward to the 1960s as their own golden era. This was why the principal Igbo leaders in politics, in commerce, or trade immediately after independence did everything to monopolize public offices and trade as against other ethnic groups. This trend continued until the end of 1964. I'm going to stop here because, Kinipo, listen, when you see a group that's very clannish, when one person gets an opportunity to work somewhere and then before you know it, the entire place is filled with his ethnic group, that kind of mindset is not like it's terrible or demonic or bad. It's not bad. It's just that in the evolution, where they are is different from where you are having your conversation. So for instance, if a person gets a job, it doesn't make sense for the person not to be able to bring in, have you noticed, let me finish that thought, for a person not to be able to bring in his own people. Have you noticed, I don't know if you live in Abuja, if you've ever lived in Abuja, one of the conversations that people have, especially with Yoruba people in federal civil service, is how they are tough on fellow Yoruba. It's an open secret. People are looking for jobs. A Yoruba person comes in, sees another Yoruba person sitting down, and he's just asking that person, bombarding that person with questions to prove something. The other person doesn't even do that because they already knows that Kokbo. With the Easterners, it's a funnel, especially between 1960 and 1964. It was a funnel that kept bringing people in. Mr. Lamba, you don't understand. I'm helping you. You don't know yourselves. This is not hate. This is help. This is me telling the part of history. You guys said they don't teach you history in school. This is history. The truth is, it's not that they are bad people. That's what I'm trying to establish. They are not bad. They are just different. See that place where they are in their political evolution? You used to be there 1,000 years ago. So when you expect them to do things just like you do, it's not their fault. It's your fault as a Nigerian, as a Yoruba person. Now, that person, don't hate that person. Just deal with that person at that level. So when it comes to, imagine having a person who is clannish, give that person political power. What do you think is going to happen to your region? Your region is gone. It's not gone because he's a bad person. I mean, again, there's precedence for this. From 1960 to 1964, the entire federal civil service was overrun by Igbos. Again, they're not bad people. They had an opportunity. They put everybody there. They did it in the East. In the Midwest, where the Igbos were a minority, after gaining power through Dennis Osadebe, they filled the entire place with Igbo people. Of course, you have Edo people, but they are the minority in the civil service. It was Igbo. As a matter of fact, after Ojukwu conquered the Midwest, we're going to get to it tomorrow. After he conquered the Midwest, he moved people from Enugu to work in Benin and mandated that Okonkwo send revenue from Benin to Enugu, even though he says he's not trying to overcome and occupy that place. It's a Kanish mindset. In other words, you don't have any history of conquering or taking over. Therefore, you want to do it in the 60s. It stopped. Now you want to do it with Biafra. Why would you want to have other people's region in your country when they are against you? Because you want to also feel like you conquered something. Are they bad people? They are not. Have we done it as Yoruba people? We have. But we stopped doing it centuries ago. We conquered places when conquering mattered. Today, if you try it, you'll be dealt with. And you see, as they say, whenever you wake up, that's your morning. The problem is that could be your morning, but it doesn't have anything to do with me. Me, I'm enjoying my day. That your own morning that just woke up. Develop at your pace where you are. Don't now come to my space to come and engineer. I mean, you are essentially taking me backwards by going your way. Where you are right now, which I thank God for you, but where you are right now was where I'm not joking, my great, I don't know even what generation, so I think it's like the 15th generation, and I'm not joking, I've calculated this thing. I have one ancient ancestor. What he did is what folks are still trying to do. Therefore, I respect you, but I'm telling you, you cannot play in this game. This is not meant for you. And whatever makes you say, I must be in Lagos, I must be in Yorùbáland, why can I not be there? Is also showing that you have not evolved. Everyone who has evolved knows that there are demarcations and boundaries. Every culture that has evolved understands the concept of boundaries. It is cultures that are stagnated or that are underdeveloped that struggle with this idea. Because what they are trying, that's why, for instance, who gave us centralized system, unitary system? Ironsi. Ironsi did it in 1966. Oduduwa did it in the 1000s. That unitary system that Ironsi did in 60s, you cannot do it over Nigeria with all. Oduduwa did it in Ife amongst a people of the same language. Ironsi is doing it in 66 amongst people of about 250, 400 different Guinea, and is expecting it to work because he never did it where he's coming from. They don't have any history of that. They want to do it, but they don't understand that you have to have some basics sorted. You have an identity that's common to all. You are only working on culture, not on identity. Oduduwa did not create identity. He created a political structure. These guys were doing two things at the same time, creating a new identity of Nigeria where all of you forget who you are. We are all the same. Example, what Azikiwe said. He told the Sadauna, let us forget our differences. Sadauna said, let us remember our differences. Let us acknowledge our differences. Like, you are an Igbo man, Christian from the East. I am a Northern. Like, know who you are. That's thing that makes you say, let us forget. The reason you can forget is because there's nothing to remember. I would be losing everything if I forget. I'll be losing centuries of civilization if I don't have the luxury to forget. Who goes online saying that let's do what happened in Rwanda, let's cancel identity and tribalism and tribes in Nigeria? The only Igbo people talk like that. Why? There's nothing to remember. My future is dependent on my past. I'm building stuff. I've said it several times. What I'm doing right now, Orunmila did this. It's philosophy. Orunmila spent time doing this. You know when he lived? If you read the book, Odun Ifa by Abosede Emmanuel, he put the date at 500 BC. But we know that he lived before Oduduwa. Oduduwa lived in 1000 AD. These were people who could sit down and teach people in a school more than 1,000 years ago. I have to tap from his own wisdom, even though the same way I will read Plato and Aristotle and Socrates, I studied Orunmila. The question is, when you think about it, where you are from, who do you study? Give me, I've said it several times, it was a challenge because somebody insulted me here, but I'm just going to say it not as a challenge. I told the person the other day, I said, give me 10 heroes from your ethnic group. Now I brought it down to 5. I said 3. I said 1. You will not find one hero in the last 500 years from certain regions in Nigeria. Do you know what that means? There's no big deal about the past. It's a big deal for me. I'm studying English history. I'm studying Roman history. I'm studying Chinese history. I'm seeing it sincerely when I'm reading all these things. I'm looking through the eyes of Yoruba culture. I'm looking through the eyes of like Yoruba history. Where were we here? So for instance, let me give an example. When England was invaded by the Vikings, that was around 900 AD, 10th, 11th century. I was like, nice. When they were creating that English identity, well, not yet. That did not happen until like 1300 or 1400, thereabout. But when they were conquering all those places, I saw what Oduduwa was doing in Ife, and I was proud. I am proud. Creating a complex political structure that became an empire that lasted for 400 years, that birthed another empire that lasted for 200 years. That's something to celebrate. So the question is, how did they do it? In that how, that's where the wisdom to build something now is. And that's why, let me tell you something. Whatever you see with Lagos, that Lagos megacity you are seeing, that thing is coming straight from the 1000s. If you have nothing in your past to lose, you will forget your identity. I have something. If your identity was created by the British, who came in less than 200 years ago, I respect you. I love you. You will do well. But guess what? There is no way on earth we are going to measure civilization at the same time, side by side. And I'm not talking about clothing yet. I'm not talking about feeding, let alone philosophy. I've said it several times, you are going to have to be a people that can feed your own people in order for you to have philosophy. Let me tell you something. It's one of my third year. I took a course, social political philosophy, studying Aristotle and stuff. That course was nonsense. First couple of months, it was abstract. I didn't get jack. I can't so rubbish in the late minute until I read the particular document that changed everything for me. The question is this: what will make anybody sit down and be listening to Aristotle in his own days? Now imagine that person has not eaten. Imagine you don't have a solid base, economic base in your culture. You think you're going to have philosophy classes? Agbon Irigun was having class that lasted 7 years. Like, you enter the school, you'll be there for 7 years. You don't do that without structure, without political structure, without economic structure, without a culture that really understands stuff. The point is that there are people in Nigeria today that may find it difficult to even have that concept in their culture. I don't say I'm better than you, but I'm saying I'm definitely different from you. Now, if you are where you are now, considering the fact that you have a long way to go, you should not even be thinking about ruling anything in Yorùbáland. That's the point I'm trying to make. And if you notice, I'm trying not to talk about where some people really were, because because Otoro Omaya Sokuso, if you speak something, it's a bit like say they insult. So I'm trying not to go into I'm using Yoruba intentionally just to explain something. I'm not trying to tell you exactly where you were. For instance, I tell people where they were in terms of fashion, where they were in terms of clothing, where they were in terms of feeding, where they were in terms of economy, where they were in terms of politics, the evolution of their spirituality. I can explain the evolution of their myth. If your myth came in the last 400 years, you really think you're going to teach me anything in politics? The Igbo myth, for instance, is when they insult me, for instance, say things like, "Oh, you Yoruba people, your ancestors fell from heaven. Oh, I fell from heaven." I just sit down and I watch stupidity on display. That myth of Oduduwa descending with a chain from heaven, that's the exact myth that you see two versions of it in Benin, and is the exact same one that you will see in Igboland with Eri and Namaka. A lot of people don't know it because it's a newer. They just came up with it not too long ago. When I say not too long ago, I mean like a couple of 100 years ago. The Igbos insult you and say, "Oh, Oduduwa, I fell from heaven." I'm like, do you know about Namaka and Eri? Do you even know your own myth? He doesn't know because there's nothing to know. Like, there's no big deal about it. All I'm saying is this: may God bless all the ethnic groups in Nigeria, but I'm saying that we are not on the same level. I'm not saying I'm better than you. I'm not saying you are worse. I'm just saying that we are different. So that your difference, that is so fantastic, use it where you are, where you own, in your space, and then build the Dubai in your region. And don't come and see if I will not come and ask you, how did you do it? As long as you are not doing anything in your history, you have not done anything in your history, and you're not doing anything in the present that inspires me, why on earth would I want you to take anything in my space and come and dominate anything? Kò sí nǹkankan tó fẹ́ kọ́ mi. But yeah, as I said earlier, I'm not saying you don't have anything to teach. I say I don't have anything to learn. And I'm not saying this because I'm proud or I'm bigger than you. I'm saying because I've observed what you're doing. I'm trying not to go direct, but I hope you get the point. All right. So everybody that's trying to become something Yorùbáland, shame us. Build something fantastic in your place. Give us a structure. You have a homogeneous place, homogeneous state, and somebody managed to break it into 3 factions. Homogeneous ethnicity. Like, gosh, oh boy. Let me tell you something. A person becomes a governor of a homogeneous state. Ethnically, they're about 90% of that ethnicity, right? The guy now came with his clannish mindset and broke that homogeneous space into 3: Catholic, Anglican, Pentecostals. I am Yoruba, where regardless of your religion, that ethnicity comes first. So that we don't look at ourselves based on what separates us, we look at ourselves based on what unites us, which is our ethnicity and our culture. You have succeeded in breaking your own culture using religion. You now want to come and lead me. What are we talking about? And what did you see in the last election? Somebody came to Yorùbáland and said there's Yoruba Christian, Yoruba Muslim, and they started the wala. Can you do me? When in the last 50 years have you heard politics in Yorùbáland where people say, I'm Yoruba Muslim, I'm Yoruba Christian, we're against you, we are fighting, just like what Murik is doing, just any small thing, so the sort of racing. That thing did not come into our mindset because we're not raised that way. We have a totally different frame of reference, totally different value system. You came in and said, hello, daddy, there's religious, as if we are fighting. Why is he doing that? Because that's what he can give. What's there for me to learn in that? My ancestors stopped doing that. I don't even know when. If you see, listen, in the 12th century, Babalawos were sent from Ife to Mali to learn the basics of what they're even doing. This Islam they always bring into our place, come and sell. Let's even understand what they're doing. My own, they didn't become Muslims though, but they wanted to understand again philosophy. They're looking at the philosophy of what they're trying to bring into Yorùbáland. They went to study that 12th century. You have one religion, you have one ethnicity, and then you still divided yourself into three. I have several religions, I have one ethnicity. You then came to me to get political power, and the only thing you could use was to divide us, saying some people are Yoruba Christian, they're Muslim ticket. And you think I would think you would know anything about politics, that I would want to learn anything from you? Are we joking? Listen, it is not going to happen in the next 1,000 years that an Igbo person is going to become anything significant in Yoruba politics. It's not happening again. And I used to be a bit more lenient than until I studied, and I was like, this is disrespectful. You look all over Yorùbáland, you don't find anybody that can actually represent your interests. You have to fly to a place that has less than what I have. Like, what kind of... And we say, that's not love, that's stupidity. That means, okay, what am I telling my children? No, it's competence. What competence? Competence, what you call Dubai. Okay, you're so competent, give me Dubai. If I say, shame Yoruba people, shame, like, shame. We have built Dubai somewhere. We come and learn from you. Until then, like, stay where your parents have put you. Let me stay where my parents have put me. We are all one Nigeria. We'll love, we'll progress. And guess what? And I'll end by saying this. There is something Michael Okpara did, which is what Igbo people for this for some. I don't understand. Say, I am retrogressing. Michael Okpara did something. He traveled to Idore to get cocoa seedlings. He knew he couldn't plant cocoa seedlings in Igbo land. So what did he do? He went to Ogoja. He created a cocoa plantation. What did he do there? He didn't go to Yorùbáland to tell them how to run. He knew that what Yoruba people had, he didn't have. And if he didn't day, he didn't day. He came to get stuff that he needed and went to create a plantation in... Meanwhile, that's the reason they always want to have all those places and be part of Biafra, because what those people have, they don't have. But the point is that at least he came to learn and pick something and then went to apply it. My question is this: what exactly am I picking from you that I don't have? If you can convince me, I will support you. As long as you can't convince me, I don't care how much. If you like cry blood, you have no place in Yoruba politics. But it's not because I hate you. It is because it is retrogressive for me. It is a devolution, not evolution. I'm going back in time to allow your mindset in politics to govern Yoruba space. That is love for my people, not hate for you. But I love you. I love you enough to tell you that wherever you are in your level of evolution, practice this fantastic thing where you come from. Build something great. And once you finish building it, I promise you, we will sponsor politicians, we will sponsor young people to come to your region to come and learn something. If, for instance, Ondo built mother and child under Kiloko Babae, Mimiko, people went everywhere to meet him. What are you doing? He's a medical doctor. They had to go and learn something from him. We've seen what happened let me even leave Yorùbáland. When Donald Duke was governor, were people not asking him about tourism? Like, give us something. Give us something. When you give us, we'll listen. Until then, I'm sorry, I went off because of that question that the person asked. I think it's Otutoge. Yes, Fashola did his own in Lagos. People wanted to learn something from him. Do something. How is that? How is Oyo State generating? Guys, the first quarter of this year, The VAT of your state is more than everything in the southeast, all the states in the southeast. And you really think that I would jettison that, I would drop him, and then go and pick someone in the south that is making you know what? I don't want vex. So it is well. I hope I was able to say what I wanted to say, because if, for instance, I have a governor in Lagos, and I'm not even trying to use Lagos because so we have Lagos, but let's even talk about Oyo State. Oyo State is generating VAT that is more than Southeast, it's more than Northeast combined, by the way. And you are the one that will teach me how to run government. Abba, let's be respecting ourselves now. Defend your fatherland. And the reason I said it this way is that you don't have to hate anybody, you don't have to fight anybody. Just explain to them that, listen, where you are in your own evolution is different from where I did. Did they where you did? They there. Where I did, let me there. Or build. As you are building your Dubai, I'll build my own, and then Nigeria will flourish. All those ones of is because people want to speak Yoruba. It's not because of Yoruba language. It's because culturally we are in different spaces. That clannish mindset is still there, and I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying that I don't want it in my space. May God bless you. May God keep you. May God cause His face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May He give you grace and peace in all that you do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Everyone who has come up to speak, thank you very much for listening to that long monologue. I'll end by saying, Ojoniwa, we are not hating on anybody. It's love, all love. But it's love for mine first. In my own culture, charity begins at home. We don't start it from abroad. We start at home. So, and by the way, Yoruba people also take it as a challenge. When we talk about the greatness of our fathers, it's not to just lounge and be happy. It's to challenge us. If your fathers could do this, I mean, look at some of the things brought back to Benin. Some of those things, when you check it, they are replicas of Ife heads, which establish, I mean, I'm not talking about it right now, but maybe on that day, how Ogola brought in Igwege from Ife in the 14th century to Benin, and it was one who taught people crafts. That stuff, for instance, we say, it's a lie, it's a lie, it's a lie, it's a lie. Not only do I have like 10 sources to even explain it, including oral and Iwe, but now you look at the work and you can tell. What are you seeing? The point I'm trying to make is that if they were able to accomplish all those things, what do you do now? For them to create terracotta heads in the 10th century, the first one I saw ever dated was 10th century AD. One of the reasons I got me interested in archaeological history. If they were able to do that, what are we going to do? They're able to create glass beads in the 8th, 9th, 10th century and say, oh, I'm better than you. Is to say, we have something going for us. If we go back to that and understand that, we can build something more. So I'm not doing this to say, oh, I'm better than you. It's a waste of time. Like, again, if you're a Yoruba person and you're comparing yourself with ethnic groups in Nigeria, saying I'm better than you, you are not thinking straight. Egbe in China, 5,000 years of unbroken civilization. That's China. Compete. If you have to compete, not to be saying, you look around, you are looking at people who on a normal day, if not before colonization, on a normal day, in Aluba and say, I'm better than Igbo, I'm better than this one, I'm better than that one. Say what? Anybody that's saying I'm better is a very small person. If you're looking for a challenge, study China. In fact, study ancient civilizations, because we are an ancient people. Yeah? So let's use the history of our past to build a better future. Let's do something great today. Egun Alari. There are two reasons we are the way we are in entertainment. Two. One is, number one, our ways of telling stories. So you see it in our Iyere. You see it in the normal law. You see it in the enactments, the reenactments of historical events in Yorùbáland. You see it in all of those things. Number two is also in the performing arts. Performing arts in Yoruba started with Egun and Egun Alari. It's from Egun Alari that you had Alarinjo. It's from Alarinjo that the Alarinjo, that's the theater that started in the 1940s, is based on the same thing. It's from there you got into, of course, stage productions. From there, of course, mixed with other influences. For instance, Iba Togunde started in a church. He was using the cultural idea of stage productions in a church, staging Christian plays, Christian stories from the Bible. By the time it went out, it's still the same. So you can pick something from somewhere else, pick something, but you are grounded in who you are. That thing is what has become it went from stage play to celluloid, from celluloid to home video, from home video. Now we are in cinemas, we are on Netflix, on YouTube, everywhere. It's a straight line from Egun. If we do that in performing arts, what if we do the same thing in visual arts? And we are doing it, by the way, but do it in science, do it in metallurgy, do it in material science, we're doing it in fashion, by the way, but do it in everything. We're doing it in religion, by the way. Have you ever asked yourself why you have a preponderance, regardless of religion? I have an academic mindset in what I'm about to say right now. Regardless of your religion, have you ever wondered why many of the big ministries on the continent are from Yorùbáland? Have you ever asked yourself why in Nigeria today, when you talk of religious tourism, it's in Yorùbáland, in different faith, whether it's in Christianity or in Elesa Balaye, you will see it. Why do you have millions trooping to Redeem? Why do you have millions trooping to Ota? Forget whether you're a Christian or not. Do you understand where that is coming from? Do you understand the concept of priesthood that Yoruba people understood even before Christianity came to Yorùbáland? Listen, even the pastors, regardless of your faith, that thing you see that we're doing pastoring, that we're preaching, that stuff is also grounded in our culture. The way we're able to communicate. Have you ever seen people learn Ifa? Have you seen them the way they say those things? Listen, this thing is connected. Whether it's in music, in movies, in fashion, in religion. Let's do it in science. Let's scatter this whole place with fantastic innovations. And then, ẹni ò tó yàn wá máa bá yàn pé òun fẹ́ di gàba léèyàn lórí ilẹ̀ èèyàn. Ẹ jẹ́ kán fún ìgbà tí kò wá bí gbà lọ. Kò jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Ẹ ṣé o, we'll continue. We'll have more conversations on this later. Again, Yoruba greatness is not to say I'm better, because who are you even better than? To say you are better than somebody is to demean yourself. Because who are you comparing yourself with? Michael Jackson Mike Tyson, he can't compare himself with a 5-year-old and say I'm a better boxer. It means that he's a loser already. So we're not comparing ourselves. And Bible says that those who compare themselves with themselves are not wise. We are wise. All right. So we're going to do better than our ancestors by the grace of God in every area. In every area. Love and light to everyone. I hate no one, but we speak of what's ours, and no apologies. So thank you very much for a fantastic session. Everybody who came up to speak, I appreciate you coming up to share your thoughts with us.